Alright, so for this tutorial, we're going to talk to you a little bit about mockups. And again, mockups work in a variety of different ways, but most of these mockups that you see here, when you open them up, they're a Photoshop file, and they have what they call smart object layers. Smart object layer is a layer, as if you can see when I turn off the eyeball here, the layer is got effects and things that are programmed onto it, like a linked file almost. So when you manipulate these, anything that you put on that layer is what's going to wind up affecting your mockup here. And it's not literally copying and pasting or anything like that on the layer itself. You have to open the smart object layer. So first thing you would do is take your label and you would save it as a PDF, and then open it up in Photoshop so that you have your layer, your label, nice and flat. Then you're going to go to your mockup and see this little icon here that indicates that it's a smart object layer. I'm going to double click on that little square, and it's going to open up the actual smart object layer that I can then render my effects on. So as you can see, there's my wine label. If I go back to my mockup, it looks just like my wine label here. So it's on this new layer, the smart object layer, is where I'm going to actually put my wine label. So I'm just going to drag it in there. And I'm putting it on top of everything else. And I'm going to size this thing down a little bit. So I'm just going to scale it a little. Mainly so I'm not losing and I'm going to fill in that background so that that layer doesn't show up. So I'm going to take my eyedropper tool, select that red, and on a layer underneath I'm just going to fill it. And I've done all my effects that I want to do to it, scaled it, all that kind of good stuff, sized it however I want to do. And to get it to show up on the actual wine label, I have to save this. So I'll go back to the smart object layer, I go to File, Save, and you'll see that it starts scrolling through saving. And then once it's done, then I go back to my mockup, and there it is on my mockup. And so that's how you work mockups, digital mockups on smart object layers. And this one is for a wine bottle.